Hey, it's Clay Trader, and this will be a video chart on ticker symbol ICPI. We will take a look at the 30-minute time frame. Real quick, what do I mean by 30-minute in case maybe you're new to charts? Instead of each one of these candlesticks here representing 1 day's worth of price action, which is what you would normally see, each one represents 30 minutes. So while this here may look like several days worth of time, it's actually today's price action broken down into 30-minute time slices. I like to do this time frame. I think that's a good job of telling the quote-unquote story of the price, and then makes mapping out where levels of support and resistance a bit easier to see. I don't mean to state the obvious or rub salt in anyone's wounds or anything like that, but pretty brutal movement today. Although from a trading perspective, it's actually an interesting setup going into tomorrow. And the setup all revolves around where the price actually just started to go sideways. And maybe you're thinking, well, geez, that's kind of setting the bar sort of low. Well, yeah, but you got to keep in mind the context of things. And the context is, the big gap down, and then even after the gap down, the price just kept getting hammered and hammered and hammered. Now, if you've traded long enough, then you know, and you've seen, I'm sure, maybe even taken part of, when stocks get hammered in a very short amount of time, especially in this price range, big attractive bounces can happen. Now, just because this was hammered down and because there is big volume does not guarantee that tomorrow there's going to be a big bounce. Would I be shocked to see some sort of bounce? No, I wouldn't, especially given the way the price has been acting, and I'll talk about that in a second. But like I said, these are interesting setups to keep an eye on, and we'll see if anything comes from it or not. And, this all is revolving around, again, the green line there. Why? Well, I kind of already, touched on that, but because the price just simply went sideways, or in other words, the bleeding finally stopped. Now, does this guarantee that the bleeding is officially done? Not saying that, but it actually makes sense now to question, hey, maybe the bleeding has stopped, or in other words, maybe this is some sort of bottom. I mean, during the period when this price was falling and falling and falling, at no point did any of that did it make sense to question, hey, maybe the bleeding has stopped. Now it does, because the price has gone sideways. So going forward into tomorrow, definitely that key level to keep an eye on as far as the support standpoint, right down there around the $1.30 mark, give or take a couple pennies. Now, in the event this does bounce, where are some of these potential battlegrounds that the bulls are going to have to fight through? First key level, where if you say, Clay, if any sort of worthwhile bounce is going to get started, where's that level of resistance? To me, it's right up there at $1.50. So $1.50 is definitely that key mark where if the price can get some breaks above there and some closes above it. Am I saying this thing's headed up to $3? I'm not saying that, but could that generate some, some eyeballs and then some organic volume, and then, who knows what could happen? Yeah, definitely. So $1.50, certainly, that primary area of resistance going into tomorrow. So will it bounce? Your guess is as good as mine. Is it logical to think that it could bounce based on how the price action has seemingly bottomed out? Yeah, very logical, but not a guarantee. So we'll see how the bulls close out the week tomorrow. One of the biggest questions that I get is, hey Clay, how do you find the stocks that you trade? So what I've done is put together a free resource guide where I talk about the tools that I use to locate stocks that I find interesting and think may have potential. So if that sounds like something that could add value to you as a trader, then click on the image that is up on the screen right now, and I will email you the guide. The guide itself is very short and to the point, and best part, it's completely free. Thanks for watching the video. Let me know if you have any questions.